Good morning, good afternoon.
Hey, that's right. Good morning, good afternoon. How are you guys doing today?
All good, amazing. The weather is great.
Rub it in,
Can be
rub it
better.
in. We've been freezing. Scott's been stuck in blizzards in LA, I believe, right?
Oh my God, it's been crazy. I've got friends that are up in the mountains and they actually cannot get home. We've got like 5 feet of snow in the Sierra Nevadas. It's crazy. It's awesome skiing, but if you're
Yeah.
not there, you can't enjoy it. There's no way to get there.
As the young ones would say, it's pretty nuclear right now.
Nuclear, yes, nuclear.
I get that. That's the new term. It's nuclear.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that problem here.
No, you don't. The waves are amazing, I'm sure. So you guys are on the heels of spring break, right? Spring break's right around the corner.
Spring break is coming.
Are you ready?
It's actually mid of March, end of March. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are fully booked for all the properties in Miami, and that's one of the busiest. I would say the busiest month of the year in Miami.
Oh, wow.
On top of that, we'll also have Miami Open, which is one of
Wow.
the biggest tennis events.
Yeah.
Everyone that loves tennis know about that, and it actually recently was moved from Key Biscayne to Hollywood, um, and we have people from all around the world coming. By the
You,
way,
you
Djokovic is not coming. Unfortunately, they didn't let him in to the United States.
I'm going to pretend like I know that. That's horrible. Was that what's going on? Who was that and what happened?
You don't watch tennis? That's it. I'm hanging up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
It's
go back to the McEnroe days.
it's one of the best tennis player of all the time. It's one of my favorite tennis player
Oh,
actually. Yes, and I like why I like Miami Open. It's a big event, but it's not a huge event like the US Open. Then, you can't even see anything, even if you get a good seats. So in Miami Open, you really can see people playing, and people that love and appreciate tennis. They love this event, even though it's not 5-set event. It's only 3-set event, but so the game is shorter,
Sure. Yeah.
but people coming because you can see players pretty close.
that's amazing. So, are you
So
going to
that,
attend the event?
of course,
Are you?
I go every year, and also on top of that, if you come to Miami to enjoy this event and you don't have a ticket, you sometimes wait unless it's final. Don't do it when it's final. You wait till the last moment and you go to all these resale applications and you can buy a VIP tickets with the whole experience with the food and everything for half a price, because there are people that buying the package of all the games and they don't visit all the games and they just sell them. And
Makes
the longer
sense.
you wait, the more chance you will buy the ticket that usually costs like $500-600 for $200.
Nice.
Don't wait till last moment when you buy finals. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So, is that what you do, or do you buy your tickets just to have the peace of mind that you got your seat?
Depends. Final, I'm trying to buy in advance if I want to go to see final. But usually, my favorite games is in the beginning, because there are more players, good players that play, and you can go from stadium to the courts and see all kind of games. So I like to go in the beginning because it's not only watching tennis; it's an experience, and we have a lot of local players. Williams, she's I mean, she retired, but she's local. She's from Florida. Then we have tons of good players from Florida.
Very
The
cool.
weather is great, so you can play 365 days a year. Yep.
Awesome. Well, that's very cool. I did not know that was happening. So, thank you for sharing that. So, what fabulous neighborhood are we going to talk about today? You've been killing it every week with these different neighborhoods. So, I'm really excited to hear what we're going to talk about today.
Now I'm thinking, because I wanted to speak about one neighborhood, but now we're talking about Miami Open. But you know what? I'm gonna leave Miami Open for the next week.
Okay.
So this week we will be talking about Little Havana.
Little
Ooh.
Cali
Havana.
Orchard Street. Yes. That's something that once you see, you will never forget that, because I never been to Cuba, but it feels that you are in Cuba. If you speak only English, it's going to be hard for you to experience, the whole uh, the street, because I don't speak Spanish, but it's
But
just
that,
very interesting. Yes.
that makes it that much more authentic, though, right? I mean, that's part of what gives it the vibe, is that
Right.
you're surrounded.
People dance salsa. You feel that you're not in the United States. You feel you're somewhere else.
Love that.
And then if you like to play domino, there's a park where people play, and it's not just for tourism. People that live there, they go and they play in this park. You
Dominoes.
definitely have to see this place, take the pictures, go and buy cigars. They make cigars right there. Play domino, dance salsa, eat Cuban food. It's
Wow.
very interesting.
I have my step grandfather was Cuban, and oh my God, did he love to play dominoes. So I have spent many, many, many hours playing dominoes with a Cuban, and it's a lot of fun.
I bet you're good then.
Not bad. I bet I could beat Ted, because Ted's never played. So, that.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Now we're talking. I've been quiet. I've been holding back to talk about my experience, my record in domino play.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I'm a master of bones. Okay, let's get the nomenclature proper. It's called playing bones. So what else is there to do in Little Havana besides playing bones?
Tried.
We're gonna eat great Cuban food, I bet. I mean,
That sounds
There's a lot of Cuban food, and the interesting part about Little Havana, and why I wanted to speak about this place, not only because of the tourism and the excitement of Little Cuba in Miami, but also the real estate in this area is extremely interesting. For longest time, it was small little multi-family properties, and a lot of people that came from South America or from Cuba, they were staying there. And now developers coming little by little, and also investors in vacation rental coming, because it's not a separate city. It's inside the city of Miami. But because it was zoned as a multi-family, and also Orchard Street is zoned as commercial, there's a lot of opportunities.
wow.
And if you look at the location, if you can open the map, it's so well located. It's between between Coral Gables and Brickell. You will see this location. It's so
see.
close to Miami Airport. It's close to downtown. So if you look at the whole map of Miami, it's right in the heart of Miami, which makes that area very interesting for investors, especially for the long-term investors.
Oh, right here. There we go.
Because Brickell, you can't build anything in Brickell anymore. Now, the part of Little Havana, the east side of Little Havana, they already call it Little Brickell. So Brickell moves there. Coral Gables, it's also extremely difficult to build anything new there, especially with our codes and our limitation and zoning. So that everything will be moving toward this area. And also, if you are interested in vacation rental, also in a long term, you don't know what's going to happen in the future with all the cities that now allow vacation rental. I mean, they're definitely going to honor grandfather licenses, but what about rules in the future? We don't know. I don't know. No one knows.
Right.
This area is zoned, not everything, but there are a lot of commercial zoning that you can buy multifamily properties and get the license to run properties as vacation rental. So very interesting area.
Yeah, it's great.
You still need speak Spanish if you want to.
No
if you want to
problemo.
walk the street, and order the coffee. I tried to order coffee once, and I thought coffee is coffee everywhere. I will never have a problem with that, and I had a hard time. Oh, I had a hard time.
This is great. Miami's
Yeah.
really eclectic. You got so many different like unique aspects and so many different like neighborhoods that are just so its own little niche, I guess would be. I don't know. It's a genre or what's the right word for that?
Well, you've got different cultures, right? You've got the
We do. We
And
do. And it's very international. The only area that we don't have a little China. We don't have that.
That's so weird.
We don't have Chinese area in Miami. We have a little like stores, streets, but not the Chinatown. We don't have that. Yeah.
Oh.
I guess because people that were coming from that part of the world, you know, especially China, it's so easy for them to come to California,
right.
historically. And California had so much to offer, still does. Why exploring, you know, the other side if it's easy, close? And then it's just historically probably happened that way. I don't know. That's the only explanation I have, because we don't have a lot of Asian people in Miami.
Is that true for all of Florida or just Miami in your experience? Or I mean, maybe you don't know, but
I can't speak for the whole Florida. I believe probably the whole Florida is like this, because I traveled in Florida a lot. And it's just the only thing I can tell you that big Chinese investors start coming to Miami. If you look at the some of the transactions, commercial transactions like hotels or land, Chinese money start coming to Miami. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, because usually, you know, when such a big investors coming, it's becoming to be very difficult for other type of investors.
Sure,
for small investors. But that's
very interesting. Well, yeah, I want to shift gears for a second here. I want to talk about loans, and I thought we could do is a couple things. One is I want to talk about various ways we use to qualify for income. So not everybody has a W-2 job. Not everybody gets a straight paycheck, but that obviously would be one of the ways. So I thought I would just list a few different ways and we can kind of talk about it. So an alternate way to show income is what's called asset depletion. Okay, and what that means is you have a liquid account, like let's say a stock bearing account or a savings account. You can have check, you know, you have access to cash that can be liquidated. And depending on the lender, they'll take a number. Some will go all the way down to 60 months. They'll take that total amount, divide it by that number, that variable, and that's what they'll do to determine your monthly income. So, you know, say you have $1 million in an account, and again, some go as low as 60 divided by 60, and that is what becomes your income portion for your DTI, your debt to income ratio.
So million divided by how much?
By 60. Some will do 120. Yeah.
6 a month. So
okay, let's do 60. So give us the number.
$16,666.66.
Yes.
That's going to be annual income. That's
monthly. Monthly.
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
So if we're doing debt to income and you got a nice fat, you know, savings account or stock portfolio account that can be liquidated, they'll take that and they'll divide it. Some go by 120, some go as high as 180. So I've seen a lot of them come down to 60 months.
So will they take retirement accounts on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as long as it can be liquidated.
And you can combine it. Let's say, for instance, I have a client that has a $5,000 a month or $6,000 a month income, but then he has another like $200,000 on his account.
100%.
So you can combine that.
Yeah, unique to the lender. So not all lenders allow this, but we have several that will completely combine them. I've had a client I was working on, and you know, a lot of investment properties. Income was good, but to get her over to the top, we took her retirement account and we depleted it through asset depletion and added that math, and we got her qualified. So that's.
What about life insurance? When people have money on the life insurance?
That's a great question. I've never had that one asked. I think if it's one of those ones that you can pull money out of, I don't see why that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And again, they'll also put they'll put like say it's a retirement account, they may allow you 75% of the value because they're going to account for some tax penalties or stuff like that. So it just depends on the situation.
You know, and that becomes really important too when you've got someone that has a lot of property, because one of the downsides, if you've got a lot of rental income property and you're including, you know, that shows up, if it shows up on your credit. So if you haven't done it as a DSCR, then you're getting dinged for that payment, but you only get 75% credit of whatever it is that rental payment is. So if somebody's getting $10,000 a month in rental income, it's only going to show up for the lender as $7,500 a month. And
That's a great point.
you have a lot of property, that really can impact your debt to income ratio. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So, and you know, it makes sense they do that because they have to account for vacancy. Right. So it makes sense, but that's a great point you bring up. All right. So
another the expenses probably they're looking at the gross or net, and then they calculate 75%.
The gross.
The gross or net?
Gross.
The gross. Okay, then it makes sense because there's taxes, their insurance, so you can. It's about 20%. You know.
Yeah, so it's not bad, but a lot of
more
people
or less
realize that when they go in and they think they've got all this income that's going to show up, and for some people that are cutting it close, it makes a real difference. We've had that in a few cases of people that we're dealing with. So
then
but then we can take a look at their assets, and sometimes their assets, if they're significant enough, can offset the the ding
differential
from the rental property.
Well, you know, to your point, though, in some of those situations, we'll refi them, take one of their properties and throw it into a DSCR into the LLC, and then pull it off their credit report so it doesn't reflect. So that's one way to show income. Another way is a bank statement program. I personally use this a number of times, and you can either use your personal statements or business statements. You have to be self-employed, and these have to be business deposits. And they will ask you to identify, and you can't just have a big lump sum of money and not show where it came from. You have to be able to tie it to, let's say, an invoice, but it's very simple. And if you do personal statements, most of the time they allow up to 100% of the deposit. If it's a business, they give you a haircut up to 50%. And also depends on how much of that business you own. So Scott and I own multiple businesses together. So if I use one of the businesses we have together and I own 50% of it, then I'm going to have 50% available and then 50% of that if I use the business deposits.
And then they're looking at gross, like coming money, just incoming money. And then what is the ratio? How they use this income?
Yeah. So let's say what you do is you'd add up your monthly income, and then you divide that by 12, right? So you come up with your average for each month. And then most lenders we have on these programs go up to 50% on the debt to income ratio. So again, let's say you have.
And we're looking at gross. We're looking only at gross.
We're looking at gross. Yep. And that's why I like the personal side. If you do your personal bank, because I don't have to take a haircut. On the business, they'll give you usually 50%, unless depends on the business. And I'll give you an example. If you're a consultant and you're offering yourself as a service and there's no cost of goods sold, no overhead, we can show that and with accountant letter or CPA letter, and we can get you usually 80 to 100% of that. If you're a business and you have, let's say you own a manufacturing facility and you guys definitely build stuff and sell stuff, well, there's a cost of that. You have employees, you have materials. That's where you take that haircut on those to show the cost of the business.
That's a lot of different options. Because people usually stuck with the tax returns, so with the W-2, and then they think they're not qualified.
Yeah,
they're not even trying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the other one we have, so let's say you own a business, and you've taken a lot of deductions. You've taken depreciation. You have your meals. Not everybody realizes that you can work that stuff back in for your qualifications. And Scott, I'll let you talk a little bit about that because you're a little bit more experienced in that side of things.
Yeah, so what you have to do is it does take a little bit of work because you've got to dig in and you've got to show what would normally have been, expenses that so you've got expenses that you have on your business that are normally taken so that you can be seen for tax reasons, right? But for people that were employed, many of those expenses would be expenses that they just have to take out of their normal income. So what we do is we have to dig into the actual tax statements themselves, and then we can go through with the borrower, apply those back in. It's a process that we go through, but it can make a big difference in terms of what kind of income people are qualifying for on their statements for particular loans. It's a bit more work, but it's worth it if somebody's trying to get into a home that they might be cutting it tight on otherwise for their income.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Any recent transactions that you just had with the
we had one of the
you know
exact situation. We had an
Yeah.
exact situation like that where the gentleman had a business and we had to go through and bring back his income. He had a lot of depreciation, a lot of deductions. He had a tow truck business. And, when at first glance, he wasn't going to qualify. But then when we get his full tax returns and Scott and I take our fine tooth comb and look at the guidelines and start adding numbers back in, the guy was making, I don't know, 100,000 a month, or not that 100. It was 40,000 a month, I believe. I mean, it was ridiculous how much more he had available to him.
Yeah.
Basically qualify for anything.
Because the guy every time he buys a tow truck, because they're over 6,000 pounds, he deducts the entire cost of the tow truck against his income that year, right? And it has a huge impact in terms of his reportable income. So those are the kinds of things we have to look at.
That's actually very exciting because, in my opinion, when you own your own business, and it's my personal opinion, you have a control over your business. When you have a W-2, today you employ, tomorrow you might not.
Right.
So for me, it was always almost like a heartbreaking when people with their own businesses couldn't get the mortgages that people that employed could. And that's great that there's a lot of different options that self-employed, and I'm talking from my own heart because I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat ourselves.
It's been 12 years. I haven't worked on anyone but myself. So
Yep.
yes, that's great.
Well, this is kind of why we specialize in it. It's 'cause Scott and I've been self-employed for 30 plus years, and it's forced us to learn for ourselves on how to qualify for loans and get creative. So that's experience you have that kind of it helps you with that stuff. So I had another thing I want to walk through with you guys. Alina, I think we talked about the all-in-one program before. Scott, why don't you give a overview of it again, and then I'm going to pull up this calculator. I want to actually demonstrate how this thing works.
Yeah.
So as a refresher, if you don't mind, tell our audience what the all-in-one is, and then let me pull this thing up and we'll walk through it.
So basically what an all-in-one loan is think about combining your checking account, your savings account, and your home loan into one product, because that's basically what you're doing. And a lot of people carry a balance in their checking and savings account because they want to have that money made available to them. In this particular loan, what you do is every night they take the balances that would otherwise be in your checking and savings account and they
I
apply
remember that. Yeah.
principal. And then you only pay interest on the principal that you have outstanding that particular night. So it does that every day. And over time, that has a huge impact on the amount of principal outstanding and therefore the amount of interest you get charged. So if you make the same payment that you would normally make, because your interest charges are less, you're paying down your principal much quicker. And we ran a loan. Are you going to run?
We're doing a live scenario right now.
What?
I'm doing a live scenario right now. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, hold on.
Yes.
I'm pulling it up so I can see a little bit there. There we go. Yeah. So
all right. So
go ahead.
I'm going to plug this in. $850,000 home. I'm going to assume they put 20% down. So their balance is, and you can probably do it faster than I can do it, times 80% is 680. All right. And they have a 30-year fixed interest rate. I'm going to say they're at 5%. Okay. And let's say they just got this thing. They're at, I don't know,
6 months.
What is that? 354? Oh, 6 months. It's 8 in the months. I got it. 6 months. Yep. So we got the monthly payment. Principal is next. Okay. Extra monthly payments. Are they putting? No, most people aren't putting extra monthly payments. We'll put 0.
Right.
Okay. Now, they have money coming in. They have an income. Let's say they are a realtor like Alina, and they do very well. Maybe they've got $30,000, $40,000 commission coming in every month. I know that's low for you, Alina, but we're gonna humor our audience and use that number, okay? And we're gonna go monthly, and then let's also say they have, I don't know, what do they have in their savings? A couple 100,000?
Just put 100 grand. Just put 100 grand.
100 grand in their savings.
Yep.
Okay. And then month of deposits. What is this month of deposits? One-time deposit. Month of deposits.
Month one.
What's that?
Month one.
Okay. Well, it says 2 to 360. So we'll put, I think month of deposit would be, month 2. Okay. Right. That's when that one-time deposit goes in. Okay. So Alina, to recap, we have 40,000 a month coming in income. They have 100,000 in their savings, and we're going to put them in the all-in-one loan. And now we're going to look at their spending. How much is left over from that 40K?
Let's just say 5.
The traditional payments,
5.
5%.
Yep. So they're
Okay, so
spending
2,000 is left over.
spending a lot of money, but
Okay,
that's
so
okay.
2,000. Yep. 2,000 is parked in that account and accumulates over time. All right. There's a head-to-head comparison. Look at that. You almost cut it in half.
So it's interesting for people that want to get rid of their mortgage earlier. And they want, because there are some people that like, they secured the loan with a very low interest rate. And, when you have low interest rate, it's money.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the other thing that's really
Yeah.
interesting about this product that we love, it's not great for us as mortgage people because it tends to, people use this loan and then they don't need as many other loans. But for the consumer, it's great because for the first 10 years of this loan, you can be paying down the loan every month. And then let's say you get to year 9 and you say, you know what, I want to buy an investment property. You can pull that entire line of credit back out. You don't need to reapply for another loan. And you can put it against the purchase of a rental property, let's say, hypothetically. And now you're not having to go through another refi. And then you just continue to make payments because you don't have to start paying down on that principal balance until you get to year 10. And so the entire credit balance of that initial loan is available for your use the first 10 years. So you can put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out as many times as you like.
We're talking about interest only, so there's no principal. For 10 years, there's no principal.
So the way the payment is worked out is you are paying principal and interest, but even though you're paying that principal down, it's tracked against the loan the entire time. So if you want to pull that principal back out at any point, and so it's a wonderful product because it gives you so much flexibility in terms of how you use that cash.
Let me ask you, Scott, a question. So to make sure that I understood, and everyone that is watching us, because you know your product, so for you it's easy breezy, but I want to make sure that I understood. You have mortgage that you can pay whenever you want to more money against toward the principal. But then, if you want to, you can pull this money back without calling, without doing. It's almost like refinancing, but you're not refinancing.
That's exactly what it is. So you've got a refinance option open for 10 years with this product, and as you're paying it down, because now the one thing that can make some people a little bit uncomfortable until they get their head around it is like in the scenario Ted just put in. Let's say on average, you had somebody that kept $100,000 in savings and checking. And so that was kind of their safety fund, right? Well, in this product, it's going to be put against your principal balance every night. Now it's always there. It's always available for you to use it anytime you like. But instead of earning 0.25% in a savings account, you're putting it against your principal balance where maybe you're paying 5 or 6%.
Like 5%.
And
then you can pull it whatever you want to.
It's always there.
So it's a line of credit. It's a line of credit in your loan. And the beauty of it is, Alina, is you're only paying interest on the balance that's there during that day. So I think we lost Scott there for a second. So if you think about you have your $200,000, $100,000 in that savings account and it's parked in there, now your loan balance that we start at 680 automatically drops to 580, and your interest, even though your interest could be higher, it's lower on what you're paying because that money is offsetting it for that period of time. So as long as you're not needing that 100,000, it's just sitting there in savings, you effectively are paying less interest that time. And then the same thing with your money. Let's say we have that 40,000 coming in every month, and you don't really draw that down for the last 10 days of the month. So the first 20 days, you had that 40,000 parked in there. Now you're paying 40,000 interest on $40,000 less of your principal. So it's all about repositioning your assets temporarily to drive down that interest expense, right?
You know, and if you think about one other thing that, and this is what we point out to borrowers that take advantage of this loan. Let's say you put all of your expenses on a credit card. You want to pay that credit card balance on the last day before you get charged interest on your credit card, because you get to use that money against the principal balance on your home
Yep.
all the way up until that day. So if you run a significant amount of expenses monthly on your credit card, you've got a 30-day window where you can use that money against your principal balance on the loan rather than having it spent out of your account. So all of these little things add up to huge annualized savings against your mortgage. And you know, you can see the results. You pay off your loan much, much quicker.
And they have
That's
that
interesting.
access. I mean, Lena comes up with an amazing opportunity for investment property. You have that capital available to you. You don't have to. You don't even have to. You write a check. It's right there. Write a check. It's available.
Right.
And that money is
And it's
the full amount. Yeah.
interest rate.
It's tied. No, it's not. It's adjustable monthly. We have an option for a 3-year, but so the way it is, it's tied to, I believe, CMT and CMT plus margin. Okay, so you get your CMT plus margin, and it's adjust monthly. You can have a fixed 3-year option if you want, but the margin is higher. So we always like to recommend the monthly version instead. But I mean, if you look at it, there's actually historical, let's see, pay down graph. Hold on. There was a historical numbers in here. I got to find it.
How many
But I mean,
years?
this has been around. This thing's been around since, man, I started doing loans in 2006. This thing goes all the way back that far. Rate
Yeah,
assumptions. Here we go. Historical graph. There we go.
We've actually run these numbers even as high as like 3% more on this loan versus a typical loan, and it still pays off because of the way the money's used. So it's for the right person, this is a great product.
This is interesting for people that have their savings and feel comfortable knowing that they're not going to use it, or if they want to use it down the road, they always can pull this money again from the mortgage, from the loan. Yeah, that's super interesting, and I'm sure that a lot of people that buying, $800,000 plus property do have a savings.
Yep. Well, and then just your cash flow. Even if we didn't have the savings and we plugged in just your cash flow, especially if you have nice income, but maybe it's variable. And think about this for a second. Being a realtor, hey, COVID, we had some rough months, right? We had, in the beginning, there was no transactions, so your income was down. Then all of a sudden, everything went on fire, and we had a lot of transactions. But you bring in that money on the time you have a lot of transactions, and okay, great, I've got a little nest egg. Well, when you're dry, you don't have to make a consistent payment because you have the balance is decreased. So your effective payment that is due is less. I mean, it's a whole thing to play the numbers, but it gives you a lot of flexibility. I think if we sum it up, you get a lot of flexibility, a lot of options to have access to your liquid funds.
Yep.
So we are running out of time. Really quick, guys. Let's go over. I'm flying to Miami. Where am I going, Alina?
And it's got to be a little chilly, right?
Little Havana. We're gonna stay in Little Havana today. We're not gonna go anywhere outside. First of all, it's very close to the airport, so you're flying in and you just go there, straight there. Calle Oche, that's the name of the street, which if you translate it from Spanish is going to be 8th Street, which is 8th Street. And you go directly to Ball and Chain. Why Ball and Chain? Because it's a historical, restaurant, bar, club that people drink, dance salsa, even during the day. And during the nighttime, people just go there to dance salsa. For me, this culture is very new and different. So when I go there and just strangers start dancing with each other, and I'm Russian, for me, it's weird and strange. And I came with my man, and then another person is inviting me to dance salsa, goes to my table, right? For them, it's just absolutely normal. They dance with the strangers. They look how other people dance, and they want to, dance with this person, and it's just amazing. I've never seen anything like this. Ball and chain.
And
And you can get to the live music during the daytime. It's just all the celebration, everyday celebration.
Ironically enough, Scott and I will be coming with a ball and chain on us. So, Scott,
Google this, please.
Where are we going in California, Scott?
Well, since we've done Little Havana in Miami, we should do a Cuban restaurant in LA and just kind of compare it. And there's a place called God, I'm trying to think of the way to actually say the name, but it's El Kitchenito, and it's in the Silver Lake area, and it has been voted as having the best Cuban sandwich in the world in 2018. So now they might have all been people from LA that did the voting, so I don't know how much weight I'm going to give that vote, but they do have phenomenal Cuban sandwiches there. And it's this slow cooked pork. It's really, really juicy. It's amazing. It's in the Silver Lake community, which is northeast of downtown LA. So for where I am on the west side of LA, that's like driving to another state. It takes like an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah.
But it's a great place to go. So that's going to be
this
where we're
sandwich must be good to drive for 1.5 hours.
I'm telling you, that sandwich better make your mouth sing and dance. Okay, I am going to share my screen because I had a unique experience and I'm excited to share this with you guys. So let me pull this up. I went to a restaurant in Henderson. It's new. It's called 138 Restaurant. And they have dry. So if you look in the back corner behind the bartender there, you'll see a cooler. In there, they have dry-aged steaks, they have dry-aged fish, dry-aged duck. So they specialize in that, but they also have artisan, I think I'm saying that right, bartenders from the strip. Artisan?
Yeah.
Artisan?
Okay, artisan bartenders. And this right here, I'm going to play the video. This is my drink.
Old-fashioned.
There it is.
Open it.
He's going to open it. It's coming.
Yes, that's
nice. Believe it or not, I've got a buddy that makes those at home, and they are amazing. And
so that
little smoker that he puts in over the drink, and
that's one hell of a bite. So this was called the Forbidden Fruit. And it has to do with Snow White, I believe. Is that the story, Snow White, where she ate the apple? So,
or Adam and Eve, one of the two.
No, it was Adam and Eve. That's what it was. It was Adam and Eve. Yes, thank you, Scott. Deadwood bourbon, cinnamon brown sugar syrup, apple bitter smoked with apple wood. I like the touch. That's an apple that's been sliced around, and it's hugging the ice ball. The attention to detail, the drink was amazing. The place was great. Definitely a go-to spot in Henderson. So, with that being said, for the
today was Friday.
I'm telling you, well, no, it's Friday every day when it comes to having a drink, right, Scott?
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey, we're on it. Wonderful episode. Thank you for the Real Estate Mortgage Insiders. My name is Ted Hicks. For Scott Benson and Lena Melodina, we'll see you guys next week.
Great seeing you.